Greetings, it's Alex Scher for the Shelburne Freelancer. I'm here with CAO John Telfer, our Chief Administrative Officer, who has recently announced to the public that he's retiring. And we're here today to discuss a few questions. That being said, Carol Sweeney, who is currently our town treasurer, will be the interim CAO. What brought you to this decision of retirement?
Well, first of all, welcome back to the town hall, and it's nice of you to do this interview. The decision was an opportunity where me and my wife had to sit down and talk about the future, talk about where we're at, and as I've said before, my body and mind have told me that it's maybe time to go. So I'm at a point in my life where this is the right time to go, and it's leaving on our terms.
For our viewers, there seems to be a little bit of misconception about the role that the CAO plays with regards to running the town of Shelburne. There seems to be an understanding amongst some people, and they think that this title of CAO implies that this person rules the roost. Could you clarify that and explain some of your actual duties as CAO?
Well, I've heard the same rumor, and no, by no means do I rule the roost. My role is to, with my staff, is to bring policies forward to council for implementation. These policies do go through a lot of scrutinizing, both at the staff level and generally around a council table. My role is then to implement those policies and make sure they're fulfilled. That could be anything from a bylaw change to a project that we're looking at implementing, to applying for grants, to implementing some changes in the budget to incorporate some of these new projects. But by no means am I here to rule the roost.
In a previous interview, you mentioned what you felt your greatest accomplishments were. Could you recap for us, including how you felt your accomplishments played a direct role in Shelburne's growth progressively?
Well, I think I mentioned the last time that we had the interview that when I came to Shelburne in 2003, the population was 3,800. It was a pretty quiet little town, pretty but quiet. And over the years, we were able to look at projects in a very broad sense that would benefit the full community. And so some of the things we're kind of proud of is the new water source that we brought to town, being wells 7 and 8. The improvements we've done to our sewage treatment plant to find additional allocation to provide the growth you're seeing today. This is not happening overnight. It's 10 years of planning and implementation, and I compliment all my staff and my consultants for the work they did to make this happen. My role is to be a quarterback, to make sure that each player fulfills their portion of the project, and I'm proud of what we were able to do. I look at some of the employment opportunities that have happened over the years I was here. KTH, for example, has grown to be the #1 industrial factory in all of Dufferin County, and it's the largest employer, and we're very proud of that. I look back at when we lost CTEX and Johnson Controls. That was a very sad day in Shelburne, but we were very quick to bring in a new industry, being Ice River Springs and Blue Mountain Plastics, and that has grown to be a worldwide known corporate identity here in Shelburne. So these are all positives. I talk about the Mel Lloyd Center and how it was a black hole at one time, and we brought it forward to be what I think is one of the most vibrant health and social service centers anywhere in Dufferin County.
It is a very wonderful place. After all of that, and you've helped the town of Shelburne accomplish so many things, what do you hope for Shelburne to accomplish moving forward?
So we've finished our official plan amendment, which was a marathon. I think my staff can attest to that. It's taken forward almost 5 years to complete. What that does is allow the town to move from an 8,500 population to a 10,000 population, and move possibly even further on to a 14,000 population. But in there, that's going to bring all kinds of vibrant opportunities, both in commercial and industrial opportunities. It'll increase the tax base, it'll make us more vibrant for recreational opportunities and expansions of our existing capital. I'm excited. I think we're probably going to be spending in the neighborhood of $17 million in the next several years to bring all this into place. But the answer's in the pudding. And the bottom line is if you invest the money, you'll see the rewards as people start to move to our town, as industry moves in, jobs are created. Commercial off-spin is just phenomenal. I'm excited about what we're going to see. We have one subdivision that's just been approved this past month by council. That'll bring in another 250 new homes. We have another one that's very close to getting its approval, and it'll be on the east side of town, and it'll be another 250 homes. These are the kind of things that make the town grow quick and also put us on the map. And I think, quite frankly, I'm very proud of the achievement that our staff and council have done to make us the fastest growing small town in Ontario, and I hope that continues.
On a personal note, in addition to your vast professional experience, what should people know about you that actually help influence your decisions and know that you're a father? And if you wouldn't mind just discussing a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you'll be doing in the future.
So, whether you know it or not, I'm a fairly quiet guy. So when I'm not working in the public eye, I like my privacy, and I do keep it that way. My wife and I are both looking forward to retirement. We are moving to Godridge as a first step. Our ultimate goal is to build a permanent place on Gravenhurst on the water, but that takes time. And I'm a father of two boys, both adults now, and both living in the north, originally from where we're from. We spent 30-some years in northern Ontario, and we miss it, but we don't miss the cold winters they have up there. We've lived in the city life. I was born in Hamilton. I've lived in Toronto. I've lived in Peterborough, Thunder Bay, Sudbury, and of course New Liskeard, and then Shelburne. New Liskeard's a lot like Shelburne, other than the fact they have a large body of water. A lot of the same concerns they have up there, I've experienced here as well. So it's nice to be able to bring that experience and help find solutions here in Shelburne. And, I must say it's been a real pleasure to work with councils, both present and past, who have been very supportive and very confident in the work that we do. And I do have a staff that's very professional and very dedicated to training and being up to speed and up to date on all the legislation. And I'm very comfortable. I'm leaving the town in a very comfortable situation with some very experienced staff.
So what will you miss about Shelburne, the big little town that you've called home for so many years?
Probably the people. I've met a lot of great people, and I've worked on a lot of committees. It's got that small town flavor, but it's got the big town attitude at times. We had a lot of people moving in from Brampton and Mississauga. I'm going to miss my family, and that's not my wife and my two boys, but the family I call the staff themselves. I spend as much time working with them as I do at home, so I'm touched to know that they're in a good position moving forward, and almost feel like I was the father to most of them. So when I first came to town for the interview, the first person I met is Al Woodburn, and I was going for breakfast, and he came over and says, "Oh, you're dressed to the hilt today. You're going. Why are you in town?" And I said, "Well, I'm here for an interview." "Oh, are you going for that town clerk's position?" And I said, "Well, I'm here to be interviewed." And so he gave me the paper, and that was always a memory I remember. And Al and I have been the best of friends ever since. At least I think we are. And the second person I met was Tom Egan. Councillor Egan was waiting in the lobby with me prior to my interview, and we were talking about the downtown, and he said that one of the big issues they had in town was the pigeon population on the roofs downtown. I remembered that. I gave him a little advice of what I thought should be done, and so once I was hired, in my first council meeting, to my surprise, the first planning matter was a minor variance to allow a pigeon coop on Park Ave, which I thought was kind of ironic because prior to that, talking to Councillor Egan, they were looking to get rid of the pigeon situation in town. So I thought that was kind of quite a contrary to what was going on in town. But anyways, we passed apparently they passed the minor variance, and so the pigeon coop was allowed in Park Ave. Within a month, council was asking me also to take care of pigeon control in downtown Shelburne. So it was kind of a oxymoron there in the sense that we were going in two different directions. But from there, things became a little clearer to me what Shelburne was all about. So that was kind of a funny story.
Had you ever dealt with such an issue before?
We had seagull issues up north, and so that's similar in the nature. You have to get some kind of control for it. And, that's the sad thing is that's one thing with a lot of fast growth in the commercial. When you have a lot of fast food industry coming to town, generally you'll find your seagull population picks up very quickly.
Shelburne is an unusual demographic as far as the population is concerned. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, so when I came, I noted that it was noted several times, both through the planner and through provincial averages, that our population was on the higher end, meaning an older demographic. But I think we're leaving it now with a young family, so I think the average median is probably around 39 now, whereas before it was closer to 50. So that's a sign of vibrance when you have young communities, or young families moving into the community. So.
And there's been a shift in what those people do for their professions too, isn't it?
There's a lot of more home-based professionals I find in town now, whether they work for Google or they work for Microsoft. They're all doing their piece from home, and that's what I call the silent industry that is part of the economy of Shelburne.
Right.
You'll find me at the end of a dock, sitting there fishing and enjoying the sunset.
You're not going to miss the up and coming fast pace of Shelburne life?
I'll tell you what I won't miss is the Monday night council meetings. I think that's going to be our date night for me and my wife. So.
Oh, that's a nice change.
But I must also say it's been a real pleasure. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the politics of it. I thoroughly enjoyed the fast pace of growth. I wish my senior staff all the best moving forward. I hope they have the same experience as I did, and just take it in stride. I mean, it's always a privilege to be part of a public process that benefits the community. My dad always said that make sure you leave the place better than when you came. So.
That you have done in spades. Thank you so much for consenting to do this interview. In conclusion, I'd like to say that it's an honor to have met you and covered stories with you involved in, and I speak for so many when I say you will be dearly missed. You brought with you a professional decorum, unparalleled intelligence, wisdom, reason, and logic that guided the town of Shelburne through so many situations that we will be grateful for years to come. You leave very big shoes to fill moving forward.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. I think you're overstating my role, but I must say I'm very proud of the relationship I had with all the media sources. We had a very honest relationship, and we were able to get the stories out that had to be out, and we also provided stories that the media wanted to share with the rest of the town, and that's one thing I always value is that high regard for each other's opinion, and also the high regard for keeping the integrity at the most professional level. So thank you very much for the relationship we had.
Thank you so much. This is Alex Scher, the Shelburne Freelancer.